Power up your product compliance with the Low Voltage Directive, LVD. Join Nadine, our compliance officer at the Atomic, as she takes you through the ins and outs of the Low Voltage Directive, LVD. In this video, you will discover how manufacturers are required to determine their own conformity assessment procedures, which includes gathering technical documentation and declaring conformity. Plus, find out what information should be included in the technical documentation and ECDOs, such as equipment description, relevant standards, and solution used to meet the directive's requirements. Don't miss out on this informative video lesson.
Now, let's get into the Low Voltage Directive, also called the LVD. If we're talking about electrical products which operate with an input or output voltage of between 50 to 1000 volts for alternating currents, or 75 and 1500 volts for direct currents, then this directive applies. The LVD has been applicable since 2016 and is aligned with the new legislative framework policy. It ensures that electrical equipment within certain voltage limits provides a high level of protection for the European citizens. There are a large number of standards which apply if your product falls within the low voltage electrical equipment sector. The new LVD does not require notified bodies to check if products comply with the applicable EU legislation. The manufacturer alone is responsible for determining this by carrying out conformity assessment procedures. So what about electrical products that are below the ranges which were mentioned above? Well, these products will fall under the General Product Safety Directive, GPSD, which we discussed a bit earlier in this module. This law aims to ensure that only safe consumer products are sold on the EU market. You can download the LVD guidelines from the docs room on the European Commission's website. Although the guidelines have no weight in law, they do explain various elements of the directive and its applications. Go over those in detail if your product falls within the LVD parameters. Two important guidelines are that 1. Products need to be labelled with the brand name or trademark. And 2. It requires that there is a protection in place against hazards arising from the electrical equipment, such as physical injury caused by direct or indirect contact. Now, what is the LVD conformity assessment procedure? First of all, similarly to the ECDOC process, you need to collect all the technical documentation about your product. Next, you need to declare the conformity through an ECDOC or with a test report. And then you need to affix the CE symbol onto your product or its packaging. So overall, you need to declare the conformity either by ECDOC or by a test certificate. And once you have that, you may go ahead and simply apply the symbol. Remember that if the CE marking cannot be affixed onto the product itself, then you can affix it onto any packaging or accompanying documents. Let's go a little further with the technical documentation. What should the technical documentation include in accordance with Annex 3, Number 2? This set of documents should include a description of the electrical equipment, which is usually accompanied by a conceptual design. It should also include the list of standards applied and the solutions adopted to satisfy the directive where the standards have not been applied. This means also including the results of design calculations and any further examinations. As we've covered in the previous section for the ECDOC, you'll need to state all the standards which apply to your product and that your product conforms to them. In addition, you could include all supplementary data which you have acquired while studying the compliance of your product. The other points you'll mention are the product serial number or identification details. You'll also state your name and company name inclusive of your full business address or that of your authorized representative. The year which the CE mark was affixed onto the product also needs to be mentioned. So, let's recap. The LVD means that suppliers have to manufacture the product according to the harmonized standards set out by the directive. There are over 800 standards which could apply to a product in this sector. You can find all these standards on the website of the European Commission. Okay, that's it for the LVD lesson. Let's go on to the next one.